Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello everyone. In this lecture we will discuss about thinking for alternatives through systemic design. So as we have seen the sustainability scenario is getting worse by every day, by every year. So is there any way out? So the only a holistic actually solution which considers the entire system, okay, of any like a product, because any product or any like actually unit thing is not standing in isolation, that we have studied earlier. So for addressing any issue of any related with any product, we have to understand the phenomena which is going in and around actually that product, and we have to understand all the stakeholders for their functionality and how they are doing it. Only with this kind of approach we can actually work out for the efficiency of like a such like a actually exercises. So let's see. So here if you see like this figure actually gives like a scope of like an impact of engineering or like design activities. So here this talks about like starts from like a products or processes, it goes to the enterprise level, it goes to the like a life cycle level, then it goes to the market and economy, and then it goes for like a wider societal and environmental value systems. So this is how actually it progresses over like a longer period of time. Okay, so this actually engages actually the community, this engages actually stakeholders, and this is how it progresses. So if we see like there are actually two major philosophies actually for designing products, for actually coming up with solution for like any problem. So the one is the like a design thinking. We have actually studied earlier in our like a design courses what the design thinking is. So it is like always is like a user focused. It prioritizes actually deeper understanding of the like problems of the like the core group of the users. Okay, it goes like with the solution orientation in mind. It culminates in a prototype for a solution that can be tested with the real people. The user feedback can be taken up, and then corrective measures can be taken up, and the product can be redefined. Okay, and lastly it aspires for actually delight and use. So it works to like a build solution that meet the needs of the real users. So it involves actually the real users of the product, and it interacts with them, it gets the feedback, and then it improves the design, and that actually design satisfies the user. So this is actually design thinking in a nutshell. This is sourced from like ideo.org. You can visit this website for more details. Further, like what was the system thinking? So the system thinking is actually a system focused actually exercise which prioritizes actually understanding the factors and dynamics that make up a complex problem. Okay, this is actually majorly a problem oriented actually actually it approach it takes focuses on developing a nuanced actually understanding of a problem through the creation of a systems map. Okay, it aspires for actually health. It works to build solutions that do not actually create unintended consequences, but instead foster healthy dynamics. So if we combine both of these philosophies in one, okay, so how it will become? Let's see the build column actually here on the slide. So it talks about like both thoughtful. Both emphasizes actually understanding problems before actually building the solutions, which is very important to understand the actually the dynamics of the problem before coming up with this for the solution. Non-linear, both prioritize actually gaining inputs from people and then iterating upon your ideas in a cyclical fashion. So again going back and improving the design, coming up with the solution, testing it, again going back with the feedback, improving the design, and then delivering to the user. So that is actually approach which design thinking follows, which the system thinking also follows. So that can be actually combined and enhanced over here. And the last one talks about like a innovative. Both look for like a new approaches based on previously undetected needs or patterns. So this is like a innovative. So there could be innovative at any level of it's like a the level of the like a problem understanding, at the level of the like a solution giving. So that it goes with this kind of like perspective. Let's see this into much detail over here. Like how a normal actually a design exercise moves. Okay, it empathizes, it defines, it ideates, it prototypes, then it tests. So this is how actually it moves. Okay, on the next the right hand side, if you see this process on the left hand is linear. The moment you make it a cyclical process, okay, it goes back, it takes the feedback, it creates actually feedback loop, loop, and it takes the feedback, it improvises the actually design solution and comes up with the final actually a more suitable solution in its like a second cycle. So this is how actually it has resulted in the lower actually diagram, lower figure over here, like the research of the stakeholders, defining the system, then go for the like a mapping the system, choose the actually leverage point, go for the like ideating the solutions, go for the prototyping the solution, testing them, and evaluating the result, and finally like a supply with the solution. So this is how actually design thinking actually principle works. So we can see over here on this slide. Okay, so what is like a design thinker like a principles over here? It works with the like a help of empathy. In the one of the previous lectures we spoke of like what is empathy. Empathy is a phenomena, is a process when we try to actually emotionally understand someone's like a feeling, the feeling of the user, a feeling of our like a target audience, and we empathize with it, understand actually the pain point, understand the gain points, and rework and then provide the solution. So that is actually a exercise which we know at like a empathy. So in design, empathy becomes like a very critical, very important to give a fitting solution for the like users. Then going for like invention and then iteration. So what is it, what if, what was, what works. So these are actually some questions which we generally actually inquire upon like any like a design thinking actual exercise. So how it moves like with the empathy, if you see like a 360-degree understanding, reframing the problem. So with this we will be able to understand actually the deeper insights of the user, and we'll be able to reframe the problem in a more suitable, more like a understandable way. Efficiency, disciplined process and tools. Creativity, like ideate, synthesize complexities, visualize solutions. Efficacy, like a prototyping, testing, like execution. So here if you see like there is a big D and like a little d. So strategy, system, service over here if it is defined in such a way that it overlaps into like a several of the like a creative fields. For example, like industrial design, graphic design, UX design, fashion, interior design, experience design, service design, planning, and obviously architecture. So this is how actually this design actually principle works. I'll read quickly these statements over here. The appropriate blend of qualitative and quantitative thinking with the goal to produce positive change that responds to the needs of the consumer. Produces comprehensive visualization of future alternatives, allowing for interaction and feedback from stakeholders early in the process. Reduces the potential for unintended consequences. Helps companies and culture evolve thoughtfully, blending continuity and change. It is inherently interdisciplinary in nature. So these are actually some of the properties which we quickly saw about like a design thinking actually principle that we can apply in our like exercises. So this can become actually one of the very effective like strategies to go with the like a design solutions. So these are the actually elements you can see over here. These are the actually tools of a system thinker. So how a system thinker actually thinks is a very nicely illustrated over here in these actually through these sketches. So once like if you see like any normal system is always like a kind of a disconnected. Okay, but a system thinker actually interconnects and sees the whole picture out of it. So this interconnection, connecting the like a stakeholder, connecting those dots, connecting those actually gaps, and understanding the overall like a scenario is very important for like any system thinking exercise. On the second sketch you can see over here a linear process compared to a circular process. So advantages of circular process we have seen like several times in our like design exercises, like how the help with the help of like a circular like a design exercises we can go back to the at the beginning stage of the materials and the components, and we can again come up with the iterations. So the same actually circular actually this function follows in the design exercise also. When we create the feedback loop, when we take the actually feedback of the user and we improvise our product and then we deliver the product. In the third actually sketch you can see like the people who are working in like a silos, so how to bring them in a very emergent actually scenario and understand them in the totality. So this is also one of the skills of like a system thinker for like a system thinking approach. Okay, in a normal situation things are like scattered in like a different parts, various parts. So actually system thinker actually thinks actually to sees them in a like a wholesomeness. So instead of seeing them in the parts, we must see them in their wholes, like how they are part of the bigger whole. So this will give us like an outstanding actually picture of the situation. And the next one, if you see like a analysis and with the synthesis. So with the unit analysis are always okay, but combining them together with all the analysis to draw the synthesis will always result into the positive results. And the last one, stemming into isolation and seeing them with the relationships. So this is always like we saw over here. So when we connect them, we can understand what is going on, what are the activities happening between like two different stakeholders, and what are the actually reasons, what are the causes, and what are the effects. So with this, we can actually understand the system in a much better way. For example, if you are going for a solution for like this particular actually node over here, so if you know the entire system, we may be in a better position to help actually this node. Okay, different types of like a system mappings over here. So there are four types mentioned: behavior over like a time graph, how things change over the time, and how things change with the like a difference in the like a behaviors. So this iceberg model we have seen, like you may be aware of these models, like a mental models, structures, patterns, events. Drawing like a causal loop diagrams, like what is the cause and effect like a phenomena. So these are actually one of the like several tools of like a system mapping. And again the connected circles. So here we draw this systems map, when here we draw these connected circles, and we try understanding the activities and causes and effects in a bigger like a picture. So wherever this two like domains of design thinking and system thinking overlaps, there comes the systemic design. So systemic design is one of the like a strategic actually approaches with which we can actually deal with the sustainability related issues. So system thinking, it involves lots of like nodes, lots of like branches, and there will be like a bigger picture. We need to see understand the bigger picture. We need to understand the whole perspective of any given system, and understand that complex environment, like how we can understand like how it is connected, what are the actually interconnectedness, and how the relationships are. Then we come with the features thinking. It helps actually businesses to probe a range of like a plausible features linked to the present and apply a strategic intervention. So this is where actually we apply actually our strategic intervention, innovative ideas, and we actually come up with the solutions. In the next one, if you see like this represents like a design thinking, is the like a creative process that designers use to solve like a complex problems. It is human centric and relies on like a prototyping, testing, to explore actually design challenges of like all sizes. So this is how actually this whole process actually behaves. This is how this whole process actually moves. Okay, from like exploring to materializing to understanding, then again actually exploring, materializing, and understanding. So it follows actually this cyclic system. So again further it is elaborated in this sketch over here. Like it starts with the framing the system, then it goes on to listening to the system, understanding the system, defining the desired future, then exploring the possibilities, okay, then designing the intervention model, and fostering the transition. So this is how actually it progresses in these many steps. So here if you see in this particular diagram, like a systemic flows. So if you see, if it starts from like at one place, so how it is connected to the different other like stakeholders. For example, this baby. So this baby is related with this excretion and urine and fecus. Okay, then this will go into the like 100% like a degradable like a diaper, and this degradable diaper, which is biodegradable, will go like causing like a fermentation process. It will turn into like a compostable like packaging. It will help like grow like microorganisms. It may like produce like other like organic material. It may like give birth to like a fungi, and yeah. So further it will move to the like a vermicompost. There will be like a worms, and there it may lead to the like a terra preta, and then further this will be taken over by like a trees and flowers and plants, which will actually generate bioplastic, which will go back again to this manufacturing this product. and from these trees actually this will serve like a vegetables, fruits and other like a eatable materials, and that fruits will be again eaten by this baby. This fruit will be taken by the mom also. The mom will further feed to the baby, and this tree will give like a supply such as like a wood. That wood will be used for like a carbonization processes that will actually from there we can draw some energy. That wood can actually turn into like charcoal also. Well, so if you see in this particular actually illustration over here, it is showing the actually cyclic nature of actually a material, like how the matter actually transforms from like a one material to energy to another material to energy to another material to another material, and things like that. So it's a very complex actually a system of the transformation of material from one form to another. And we have to understand when we are trying to solve the problems of like a toxic waste and all. So as I said in the previous lecture, a toxin pollution is actually an item at the wrong place. So how we can channelize that item into a right place in order to minimize actually the toxicity and the harmful effects of that, so that we can understand actually from there. So what we need to actually divert actually that material which is sitting at the right place, becoming like a pollutant, to the right place in a right way, so that it exerts like a minimal impact, plus it becomes useful, plus it becomes like a raw material for like some other kind of a products and processes. So this is how we have to understand, the whole scenario is the like a systemic like a approach, systemic design approach, and we have to channelize our resources. So like for the like ideation, you can see from here, this is actually a shot taken from a journal like Shazy. So at the ideation stage, it talks about like the front end, okay, and the it talks about like a design as a like research design to transform ideas into concepts. Then it moves on, it goes to the like a development stage. Design as like a techniques, to articulate ideas and to integrate concepts, people and functions. Design as a, like a creative or generative like a thinking process. Then it ends up at the implementation, at the implementation stage, at the like a back end. It becomes like a design to like a differentiate, design to introduce and facilitate adoption of innovations in the like a market. So this is how actually it ends, and this is how the cycle actually progresses. So with this, I would like to bring an end to this systemic design lecture for today. Thank you, everyone.